Okay, so yesterday we made mashed potatoes. Again, every day this week I'm going to try to show you something that I make for really all of the holidays around here. And this one is no exception. This is actually what I get asked to make for every holiday dinner that I attend.
Makes the reason why you would do it for the first episode of the holiday special.
Well, what we're going to make today are what I call oatmeal rolls. So what you're going to need for this is 2 cups of quick oats, 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 of a cup of butter or half of a stick. You'll need a tablespoon of salt. I know that seems like a lot, but these turn out perfectly every time, so I'm not gonna mess with that. 2.5 cups of boiling water. I've already put the water in our pan here. I'm gonna turn that on right now so that can start to boil. We'll need 2 tablespoons of yeast, 1/2 of a cup of warm water. I just got that ready as well, we'll need that. And 5.5 cups of flour. So it does take quite a few ingredients, but it does make a lot of rolls. But they're not going to last long. They're super delicious. So what you're going to do first is get your 2.5 cups of water boiling over here. Because my water's still warm here, this is 1/2 of a cup of water. All you're going to do with this is add your 2 tablespoons of yeast to the warm water. Now you just want your water slightly warm, you don't want it hot. If the water's hot, it will kill your yeast, and that's not what you want. So put your yeast in your warm water and just give that a quick stir. We're going to let this sit aside for about 10 minutes or so, or until our other mixture is ready to go. You are going to need a separate pan to mix your oatmeal into, so you'll need that bowl. All right, our yeast and water, we're going to just set this aside. In your separate bowl, you are going to start by measuring out 2 cups of oatmeal. Again, this should be the quick oats. There is a difference between quick oats and rolled oats. All right, 2 cups of that. You need 2/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar. And almost all the recipes I have call for packed brown sugar. So when in doubt, pack your brown sugar in your measuring cup. All right, there's our brown sugar. 1/4 of a cup of butter is 1/2 of a stick. So I'm just going to cut it at 4 tablespoons or 1/2 of a stick. What you want to do with this is cube your butter up a little bit. This is butter that's just out of the refrigerator, so it is a little bit hard. That's okay. It's actually better that way. We're just going to...
So butter is better hard?
Well, for this recipe, because it's going to give the butter a chance to incorporate a little bit easier. So I'm just going to cube this butter up and put it on top of our oatmeal and brown sugar. Set this butter aside because you'll want to use this butter to put over the top of your hot rolls. Okay, now we need our tablespoon of salt right on top of that oatmeal mixture. Okay, so that is, okay, so once your water is boiling, your 2.5 cups of water, you're going to pull that from the stove and dump it right over top of the oatmeal mixture. And then you want to just stir this until all of the butter is melted. Okay, so what's going to happen now is we need to let this sit for about 10 minutes just to cool off a little bit. Because if we add this to our yeast mixture, it will definitely kill the yeast. So you want to stir this up. It'll look just like oatmeal, like you're going to get ready to eat oatmeal. And then just let this sit out for 10 minutes. After your oatmeal has cooled down for about 10 minutes or so, you'll want to stir it just a couple times while it's sitting. That will kind of help speed up the cooling down process a little bit. What you're going to do is put 2 cups of flour into your mixer bowl. Again, if you don't have a stand mixer, just put it into a separate bowl. There's 2 cups of that. Then you're going to take your yeast and water mixture. This has proofed up nicely. It's all good and foamy. You're going to dump this into your flour, your 2 cups of flour. And then I give it just a quick little stir to get some flour in there, because if your mixture's still a little too hot, that flour will help protect the yeast a little bit. What you're going to do is then dump your oatmeal mixture into the flour. And when I first dump this in, I just mix this with my wooden spoon on the first stir, just to get that nicely incorporated. This is kind of the consistency that you're going to see. You want to get the yeast fully incorporated into all of the dough. Okay, and then even before you turn your mixer on next, I usually add my 1/3 cup of flour in and stir that by hand. So by the time we're done, we're going to have 5.5 cups of flour into this dough. So like I said before, this is a pretty heavy dough. It will take a lot of muscles if you are doing this by hand. This is what we have right now at 3 cups of flour. All right, so I am going to put this on my stand mixer. Use my hook attachment. Just scoop out your spoon. And then now we'll add cups 4 and 5, 1 cup at a time. Turn that on. There's our 4th cup. Kind of let that mix on low. This is going to have to sit out and rise for about an hour or until the dough is doubled too. So again, this does take quite a bit of time, but it's just a process. You're not doing something the entire time. Okay. Now we're going to add the 5th cup. And then it's about half of a cup to finish it off. Okay, so all you're going to do now is let this dough kind of sit in the mixer for about 7 minutes. That will help knead your dough up. If you're doing this by hand, you'll have to knead this for about 7 to 10 minutes by hand. After you have kneaded your dough for about 7 minutes or so, you're just going to turn your mixer off. Pull off your attachment. And we're going to just put some oil on the side of our pan, and then you're going to cover it with a towel and let it rise for about an hour in a warm oven. Remember to help your oven warm up a little bit. You'll want to turn it to its lowest setting, which is usually 170 degrees, and then just let it sit for 30 seconds and then turn it off, and it will just provide a nice warm environment for the rising to happen. I'm just going to oil half of my bowl, push the dough to the other side. This dough is sticky, but don't try to add too much flour. If you add too much flour, you're going to get really dense rolls. Okay, and then put some oil on that side. Use your hand. And then we're just going to put our dough kind of into a ball as much as we can. Just making sure that the oil is all around it. That's what it's going to look like. And then you're going to take a clean dish towel, cover it, and then let it sit for an hour. Join you back. All right, so after about an hour, you're going to pull your dough out of your warm oven. You can see this. It has gone up quite a bit. It's gotten pretty big. So what we're going to do is punch this down. This is my favorite part. Is this your favorite part, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm going in.
Yeah, punch it down. You're going to put some flour on a surface, and then just dump your dough
Ready to punch
on the surface.
Oh, it's really good. I'm ready to punch.
You're ready to punch. We're going to add a little more flour. Kind of warm. All right. So now we're going to knead this slightly on. Okay.
Hey,
Just a second. Okay. Just so it won't stick to the table. That's all you're looking for. This flour is going to get incorporated in anyway. You're going to take some cooking spray. Our hands are a little messy. That's all right. And spray a 9 by 13 inch pan. You can make these rolls any size that you like. I make them so that they fit in about 20 in this pan, 20 to 24,
with the flour on it.
and then about 8 in another round pan. So what we're going to do is divide this in half. Your goal here is just to make your rolls so that they're approximately the same size. Okay, so divide it in half, then in half again, then in half again. You're doing the same thing over and over. All right. So just for showing purposes, we'll keep dividing these in half. Yep, it's a little messy. Huh. Good and messy?
Yeah, I like the way that they feel.
Okay. When you're ready for about what size you want them to be, right now we have 2, 4, 6, 8. We're going to divide each one in half again, so each half is going to give us 16 rolls.
I'm washing my hands.
Okay. All right, and then you're just going to kind of roll it in your hand a little bit, flip it under, and then put it in your pan. That's all there is to it. I'll come back here after all of our rolls are in the pan. They're going to have to rise again for another, probably about 30 minutes before you put them in the oven. Okay, so after you have all of your rolls separated and rolled out, I ended up with 24 in this pan and 8 in this round pan. So all you're going to do is cover both of these. If the same towel will fit, you can use the same towel. And then just let these sit out for about a half an hour or until they're doubled. And then we're going to bake them at 350 degrees. We'll be right back. So after about 30 minutes or so, you will see that your rolls started to almost double again. When they're about as high as you want them to be, go ahead and put them in a 350 degree oven. We're going to check these in 20 minutes to see how they're coming along. We'll see you back here. So after, it's actually 23 minutes. Just make sure you're checking these. It does matter what kind of pan you use. The ones in this darker coated pan are actually done, but our ones that are 9 by 13 inch pan are not. I'm going to tip those out. What you're looking for is just some even brownness along the top. Check your sides and the bottom a little bit to see if they're brown. As soon as they come out of the oven, take your other half a stick of butter that you've left sitting out and just kind of run that over the top. That's just going to melt on the top and provide the glossiness and the good tasting part of the roll.
Yeah. Butter on the rolls is good.
Yep. Okay, and so then you're just going to let these cool for a little bit and then they are ready to eat, but they are not going to last long around here, are they, Rachel?
Yeah, after one bite you eat it, you need to get 5 more.
So what the other one, these rolls in the glass pan took about 3 minutes longer than the ones in the dark coated pan. What's nice about this glass pan is you can kind of lift it up and see the bottom. You're looking that all of, see how that's brown?
Oh yeah.
So your dough is brown on the bottom. The easiest way to get these out is to run your spatula kind of along the side just to make sure you don't have anything sticking. And then what I do, this does take some practice. I get under them as much as I can and then pull them over just like that to our wire rack. Then I do the same thing with these. Run butter over the tops. But that's all there is to rolls, so thanks for joining us.